Hey guys, welcome back to Animation Station. Yeah, I know, it's been a while. But before the video actually starts, there are a few things I want to talk about for a little bit. First is that this is the last video you're going to be getting from me from August, because as you know, Super Saiyan Timber is going to be packed. So I'm going to need some time to catch up on that and just, kick back and relax for a bit. So yeah, there's that. And then number two, the other thing I want to talk about with you is that I've updated my Patreon. I took some time, and I think you guys might like what I came up with. And I've renamed the tiers, I fixed the prices, so yeah, and I've added a bunch of perks as well. So I want to take a minute to talk about that for a brief second, and this will probably be its own separate upload as well. I just want to talk to you guys a bit about my Patreon. And here's the thing, guys. If you don't want to donate to it, or you don't have the money or funds to, that's okay. It's 100% optional. I'm not one of those people that's gonna force it down your throat or anything like that. I'm just gonna make one video talking about it, and then I will leave the link for anyone who is interested in it. Okay? Okay. Just wanted to make that clear before anyone comes out here and tries to call me a corporate shill. So, here are the tiers for my Patreon. So, membership tiers. First up, we have the Super Sponge tier. It's only $3 a month. Yes, it really is that low. The most affordable of the tiers, Super Sponge allows you early access to all the content the day before it arrives on the YouTube channel. So, for example, let's say this will probably not actually go into effect until October, but I want to talk to you guys about it now. Let's say, for example, if it was starting today, you would have already seen this review of Monkey King if you followed on the Patreon. You would get 1 day early access, and then the next day, it'll get posted to YouTube for everybody else. So, it's a nice little perk. It also gets your name written in purple pen. That's this purple pen right here. On the Stat Squad support board that will be seen in every single vid. It's going to be, for right now, it's just a piece of paper, but it's going to be a piece of paper, it's going to have names written on it. You guys are going to see in every video because it's going to be taped up right there. It's going to be taped up right here, and you guys will be able to see it in every single video. And depending on the tiers, that's what color pen your name will be in. But it should still all be pretty seeable, because I'll write it all pretty big too. So, yeah, that is the Super Sponge tier. You get early access, and you get your name in purple on the Stat Squad support board. Next up is the tier that I personally recommend that has the perfect balance of both perks and price, and that is the Way Past Cool tier. And yeah, I think you're starting to see a trend. Each tier has a name that's inspired by one of the big three franchises of this channel. Those of you that don't know who those are, that's SpongeBob, Sonic, and Dragon Ball Z. So, this is the Sonic tier, Way Past Cool. This one's only $3 more for $6 a month. The Way Past Cool tier gives you not only all the perks of the Super Sponge tier, but also an acceleration of new perks as well. Your name will be written in red pen, this one right here, on the Stat Squad support board that will be seen every single vid instead of the purple to signify your higher rank, and early access to vids, as well as the ability to participate in exclusive quizzes and polls that I put up exclusively on the page for the patrons. So, if you want to see any more of my extra thoughts about stuff, or just participate in some fun little quizzes to test your knowledge of things, then you know what? That's the tier that's going to allow you to do so. So, yeah, that is the Way Past Cool tier. And then for those of you that are into the fancy stuff, the final tier and the highest tier, and it's still under $10 a month, by the way, is Autonomous Ultra Instinct. If you've seen the Dragon Ball Super English dub, you would know where that came from. The VIP of all the tiers, Autonomous Ultra Instinct, gives you every perk of the past two tiers, as well as all the new perks exclusive to this one. Early access to vids, the ability to participate in exclusive quizzes and polls here on the Patreon page, your name in blue pen, my favorite color of the pens that I have, on the Stat Squad support board to signify your highest rank possible amongst the Stat Squad, and 4 new extra perks on top of all of that. Access to the entire full library on Patreon, access to exclusive weekly live vlogs that I'm going to try to start doing starting around October or November, and I'm going to try to post one either every Friday or every Saturday. So, yep, there's that. Posted every weekend, so yeah. Sometimes it will be a different day in the weekend, but it will be in the weekend. Like a little vlog to just, talk about life and stuff like that. So, yeah, that should be pretty cool for you guys. Shoutouts in every single vid in the form of either a list shown at the end of the video, kind of like what my boy Shader Gamer does for his Shade team, or directly just calling you out by name. It depends on how awake I am by the time I finish the video and get to the editing stage. So, yeah. There's that. And the biggest perk of them all, and this one might get you guys really enticed, an exclusive invite to the official Stat Squad Discord server, where you can interact with me directly. We can play games together, like, for example, you want to join me on a stream on Fortnite, you can do that. If you guys just want to, excuse me, chill out and play something like Minecraft, for example, we can do that and just chill out and chat in the chat while we're building worlds and stuff like that. And get an extra shout out on top of that, because I am going to shout you out in the actual live stream if you do decide to join in. Or just hang out with me and chat about whatever you want. Of course, as long as it's family friendly. This is still a family friendly channel after all, even though every now and then we do something a bit more adult. I usually warn you guys if that's the case. So, yep, that is my Patreon. It's not the most attractive page in the world. It's kind of still blank. I'm still working on it, but I got the tiers all done. Super Sponge, Way Past Cool, and Autonomous Ultra Instinct. Again, this is all entirely optional. You do not have to participate in this if you would rather not to, and I completely understand if you don't want to or you can't, and that's okay. You guys already support me by putting likes on this video, sharing it with your friends, and getting people to subscribe to the Stat Squad here on Animation Station. This is just a little extra thing for those of you that want to help out a bit more with the channel. And don't worry, everything that is from this Patreon is going to go straight into the channel. It'll be like cameras, tripods, monitors, stuff like that. Things that'll actually help out the channel, not things that are just, for my own pleasure. I'm not that kind of guy. So, yeah, that is the Patreon. That is the purpose of it, is to help, keep making content and try to upgrade it a little bit, little by little, with the help of all of you great people. And like I said, 100% optional. You do not have to do it if you do not want to. So, this is just for those of you that are interested. The link will be in the description box below in the pinned comment of this video, as well as the actual review video, because like I said, this may or may not be its own separate upload. So, yeah, that's what you guys have to look forward to, and that's my Patreon. And I think that's about all I need to say. So for those of you that are watching the normal video, have a great rest of your day, and now here's your review. And for those of you that are watching the separate upload that's just talking about just this, well, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in September. Alright, thanks for watching, guys. Peace. And for those of you that are watching the normal video, enjoy your regularly scheduled review. Peace out, Stat Squad. I originally planned to, get all dressed up for this review in like my Goku attire, since this is a movie that's being made off the same source material that created the original Dragon Ball and created pretty much Goku's entire personality and design. But after watching it, I realized it's just not worth that effort. Because if the movie's not going to put in effort, then why should I? So please excuse my informal attire, and let's just get this over with. What's up? What's happening? What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Animation Station, and what's just for anything and everything animation. And today, unfortunately, we have to deal with some trash because, unfortunately, it's not going to be a very fun review because I had some anticipation for this movie that we're going to be reviewing tonight for a couple of reasons. One, it is based off the source material of Journey to the West, one of the greatest pieces of literature ever written. Two, it's the same source material that created Dragon Ball, like with Goku's power pole being like the stick from the actual, mythology. And three, because it's a Netflix animated movie and it came out not long after the fantastic Miraculous movie, so. Oh, not to mention, they also had Nimona, so. I was hoping this would be like the third big knockout of the park, right? Yeah. No. Monkey King is trash, bro. This is not gonna be a fun video. Don't worry, I'm not cursing. I'm not gonna curse in this video, okay? This is going to be just me ranting about the movie in a more critical way, rather than just sounding like a raving nostalgia critic and reviewing a nerd wannabe. So, let's dive in to this piece of crap, shall we? First, I'll start with the written review, and then I will talk to you more about just how disappointed I am with this movie. I'm so disappointed with this movie, let me tell you. This may or may not be a half-hour-long video. I have a lot to say. So, let's start with the written review, and then I'll go off on my unscripted rant. Wow. Just wow. What a piece of garbage. Yes, it has good music, decent animation, great source material to work from. I mean, Journey to the West, it's one of the best pieces of literature ever written. And some good action scenes. That's one thing I will give this movie. The action scenes are very good. With the way it moves with the camera and the fight choreography and really leaning into that mythology. Like, the fight scenes in this movie are really good. But the problem is the rest of the movie is not. This is why. Because of the following. The writing is terrible. It's that crappy modern kids movie writing that you expect from, like the really bad stuff. Like, it's bad. It is really bad. The characters are insufferable. They're either walking, talking cliches or just flamboyant and annoying. And flamboyant in the worst way possible. The story is a complete bastardization of the source material. That's this movie's biggest sin. It bastardizes and ruins its source material. It takes this beautifully crafted story and pretty much just dumps monkey shite all over it. Immediately, when you're trying to adapt source material, how about you not crap on it first? Okay? Just saying, that might... I figured that was common sense, but apparently Hollywood has proved me wrong. The voice acting is generic, despite the fact that this movie has a pretty good cast. I mean, Hoon Lee, the voice of Splinter from TMNT 2012. He's the voice of the Jade Emperor in here. He's not very good. B.D. Wong. The awesome B.D. Wong's the voice of Buddha. He sounds like every generic, boring voice actor trying to play a god. Like, what happened here? And don't even get me started on the Monkey King himself. His voice acting is annoying, agitating, and it's trying to feel like it has some kind of spirit or spunk put into it, but it just comes off as being over-directed and over the top to the point of just freaking obnoxious. Sorry, I'm kicking my tripod. The Monkey King himself is relentlessly unlikable. Yeah, I hated Monkey King in this entire movie. I hated him from the start to the finish. He was annoying. He was relentlessly unlikable. He's pretty much the Chinese version of Blue Falcon from that, like the awful, awful Blue Falcon from that Scoob movie. That's pretty much what he is throughout the entire movie. Try to stand that for an hour and a half. I dare you. Pace drags, the runtime at under 2 hours is somehow still excruciatingly obnoxious. The jokes all suck and make me cringe, and the biggest sin of them all, besides just bastarding the source material, it tries to Gen Z it. It tries to modernize it. It tries to take something that isn't broken and break it. Whenever you are doing an adaptation and you want to modernize it, you've pretty much already automatically failed, unless you're a very talented writer and a very talented team that knows what they're doing. Because the team in this movie clearly didn't know what the flying hell they were doing. I'm sorry to be harsh, but that's just the state of things. It is bad. It is really freaking bad. Avoid it, avoid it, avoid it. Go watch Dragon Ball instead. It's far more worth your time and far more respectful of its amazing source material. Or, as my friend Isaiah on my Facebook suggested, go watch the original Mulan instead. That is a great movie about Chinese culture and very respectful of that culture and its mythology. Not to mention, it's just a great movie on its own, and its jokes don't make me want to cringe so hard my spine cracks. Screw this piece of trash to the depths of hell. And no, it's not a curse word. They use it in this movie at least 500 times. And it's technically a kid's movie. The final verdict for this piece of monkey shite is a 2. 2 out of 10. A complete and total failure. The worst animated movie I've seen so far this year. Yeah, that pretty much sums it all up. It is excruciating to get through, it's horrendously obnoxious, and it tries to completely modernize the source material that didn't need to be modernized. It was perfect the way it was. But instead, these morons, these absolute freaking dinguses, decided to Gen Z-ify the source material and modernize it as much as they can to make it just feel like every other run-of-the-mill, half-baked, low-effort, poorly adapted kids' movie. And no, I'm not saying that a movie made for kids automatically makes it bad. No. Do you know the stuff that I review on this channel? Sonic and SpongeBob, they are both technically oriented at kids, though they have a lot of adult fans. Just because something is made for kids does not give you the excuse to be a lazy turd, okay? But this feels like it was written by the same morons that gave us Teen Titans Go, because it has that same kind of obnoxious, over-the-top, annoying, cringe-inducing humor. This is a movie that just angers and frustrates me to the point of oblivion, because I had such high hopes for this movie. It's based off great source material. The same great source material that created the original Dragon Ball, my favorite franchise in all of fiction. Not to mention, the original story itself is beautifully crafted, amazingly well done, and even all these years later, it's still one of the greatest pieces of literature ever written. Yes, I will die on that hill. But this didn't feel like a loving adaptation of the source material. This felt like a half-baked, rushed-out, corporate cash grab. And everyone involved in this movie should be ashamed of themselves. Every single one of them should be ashamed. Every single one of them. Because this could have been something really good if you just left the source material as is. You didn't need to modernize it. You didn't need to try and make it hip and go with the young crowd. You didn't need to Gen Z-ify it. But no, you did that, and as a result, you angered me throughout every single second of this piece of crap. You guys remember that really bad Scrooge movie that came out last year that had that one great song? That's this movie, except for the fact that it doesn't have any great music. Well, okay, it doesn't have any great original music. The vocal stuff sucks. It's the most generic, half-baked, poorly written freaking songs you could imagine from a kid's movie. Which sucks because this movie's main score is rock and metal. That's like a dream for me, man. Whenever I hear rock used in a movie soundtrack, you get me excited because it's that one genre that everyone just loves to pick on and call it trash or grungy or emo. Like, whenever you use rock music, you automatically have my attention. And this movie, it's actual just normal rock score that isn't crapped on by terrible vocals is great. Like, this movie could have been something so good if they actually took the time and effort to make sure the writing was polished, to make sure that it was true to the original source material, and to make sure that no one was taking NyQuil in the voice booth. Because that's what it sounded like almost throughout this entire movie. And yes, I know it's made by Chinese Americans. I know. So maybe... I don't know. There were a lot of Chinese Americans involved in this movie. No doubt about that. I read the IMDb page. I know that. But unlike, for example, the movie I just reviewed on my other channel, Blue Beetle, that's a movie made about having a Latino superhero that's made by a Latino cast and crew. And they were faithful and very respectful of that culture and all of its values and its constant struggle. Like, it was so respectful and so well done. But here, it's not respectful in the slightest. It feels like a bastardization and a parody. It's a parody of Chinese literature, of Chinese folklore. And when you make a parody of something and say that you're trying to be respectful of the source material or make sure we have good representation of the culture in modern movies, you automatically have failed at your purpose to make a good movie. At that point, you should have just scrapped the whole thing. I'm sorry if I'm getting so intensely negative, but this is a movie that had so much potential to be something amazing, and instead they decided to just take their script, wipe their freaking butts with it, and then just throw it in our face. When you decide to completely ruin your source material, when you decide to take every single wrong turn possible to make sure you are completely ruining said source material by modernizing it in ways that didn't need to even be modernized to begin with, or, hello, if you want a somewhat modern, cultured Chinese movie, hello, Kung Fu freaking Panda exists! That was a movie that was also made for kids, but it was also incredibly faithful of its of its culture. It was completely faithful of its culture, of the Chinese mythology and folklore and stories. Like, that was a loving homage to that, while also trying to make a fun, funny, action-packed, animated movie for kids and adults to enjoy. This is not that. This is a movie that just wants to annoy the crap out of every single person in the room. Just like the titular character himself, it just wants to annoy you and wants you to regret every decision you've ever made by ever even watching this piece of crap. I'm just so angry and disappointed. This could have been something amazing, but instead, they just rushed it out the door and didn't give a single damn about what they were making. And it's movies like that I freaking hate most. Oh, and you can bet that this is going to be high on the worst list. What a piece of crap. I don't have anything more to say. Thank you guys so much for watching. This was a really hard one to get through, and now I'm just sad. I hope that someday somebody with the most diligent respectfulness possible does this concept again and finds a way to just not modernize it, to take every single wrong turn that this movie did and make a right turn instead. Give us a movie that helps teach us Americans about your culture. Teach us Americans about your values, about your mythology, about what you believe in, about what's important to you. Don't let American Hollywood screw over that vision again. Okay? I know I didn't go like on a big screaming rant, but this movie doesn't even deserve that. At least not until the worst list. But this is just a movie that makes me sad. Because we could have had something amazing had they just actually given a damn about the actual product they were making. Instead, we got a piece of unwatchable garbage that I recommend you just avoid immediately. Go watch Kung Fu Panda and the original Mulan instead. Those movies are far more respectful and far more accurate to actual Chinese culture and values. And not to mention, they don't annoy the crap out of you for an hour and a half. Because they were made by people who care. The people that made this movie simply didn't care. Even out of your own morbid curiosity, guys, just skip this one. It's not worth it. It is a terrible movie, and I cannot believe that I was even ever excited for this piece of crap. Thankfully, I watched Blue Beetle first, though, so my experience of that wasn't tainted by this filth. Look, we expect more from our animated movies nowadays. We expect more from the writers, we expect more from the actors, we expect more from all the teams putting all of these together. We're done with a dime a dozen, just kid-only freaking garbage. This year has been amazing for animation. Like, no joke, it has been a phenomenal year for animation. You know, Mutant Mayhem, Miraculous, what else was there this year? Hold on. What else was there this year? I know that there was a ton of amazing animated movies. I just need to remember the names. Let me see. Mutant Mayhem, Miraculous, Nimona, Justice League X Ruby, a direct-to-DVD movie. What else? Elemental, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, the Super Mario movie, like, we've had amazing animated movies this year. But this one clearly didn't get that memo and instead gave us a piece of crap. It's a piece of monkey shite, flush it down the toilet, and just don't even bother watching it again. Or just don't even watch it at all, period. It's not worth your time. And I can only imagine how many Chinese people are going to be absolutely insulted, offended, and aggravated at this movie absolutely bastardizing and ruining its good name about its culture and its values. Screw this trash. I can't even talk anymore. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And if you want to, check out the Patreon. You don't have to if you don't want to, but it's there for those of you that want to. And thankfully, we'll be on something much, much better when we get to September, because September, we're talking Dragon Ball. So, I didn't even mean for this to be a transitionary thing, but apparently it is. I guess that's the only good thing I can say about this movie. That's all I got. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you for Super Saiyan Timber right here on the next animation station.